At first, Edvard Munch's Man and Woman 2 feels like a frozen moment in time, but the silence between these two figures is anything but peaceful. Instead, we're drawn into a psychological scene that reflects the deep emotional undercurrents that defined much of Munch's work. Painted in 1915, this composition shows a man and a woman standing apart in a closed interior. The man, cloaked in shadow, stands to the left. His face is almost unreadable, sunken into darkness, his posture heavy. The woman, meanwhile, faces us directly. Her expression is vague and neither open nor withdrawn, but she stands rigid, with gloved hands held near her collar, suggesting tension or restraint. Between them is an empty space charged, silent, unresolved. This gap between the figures is the emotional heart of the painting. Munch doesn't show conflict in a traditional way. There is no action, no visible aggression. Instead, he paints the aftermath, a psychological distance that lingers after intimacy, after words, after emotion. The background, a mix of purples, reds, and uneasy green tones, mirrors this instability. It swirls and folds around the couple as though the space itself is reacting to their unspoken disconnect. The room feels more like an emotional landscape than a physical place. Shadows bleed into figures. Lines are unstable. The entire scene pulses with tension. Munch was a master at expressing the inner life, the states of anxiety, longing, fear, and vulnerability that often remain hidden beneath the surface of relationships. And in Man and Woman 2, he revisits one of his most recurring themes, the fragile and often painful dynamic between men and women. It's worth noting that by 1915, Munch had already lived through personal heartbreak, illness, and psychological breakdown. This painting isn't an abstract idea for him, it's personal. The man in shadow may even represent Munch himself. Emotionally distant, withdrawn, consumed by melancholy, the woman, though illuminated, is not at ease either. There's no victory here, only mutual detachment. Man and Woman 2 is not a narrative painting. It doesn't tell a story with a beginning or an end. Instead, it gives us a state of being, a visual representation of emotional separation, of the invisible walls we sometimes build in our most intimate spaces. This painting reminds us that the strongest emotions often live in silence. That distance isn't always measured in miles, but in glances not returned, words not spoken, hands not held. Munch shows us the interior world of human connection and its failures with brutal honesty. And in doing so, he invites us to reflect on our own relationships and the space emotional, physical, and psychological that we leave between ourselves and others.